Hello and welcome to yet another version review. As 6.3 or Luna 4, always gotta remember it's +1 on that compared to the version number. As this version leaves us behind to move to much more filler version, but equally kind of exciting because, well, Varka. I guess only because of that, because we love Varka, don't we? Everybody loves Varka. But as 6.3 leaves us behind, of course, it's time to take a look at what it brought us. And it was, of course, a version chock full of stuff. Because, well, after defeating Rerir, Dottore showed up and decided to ruin the party. And now we're gonna deal with Dottore. So that's, that's a very climatic point for the Archon quest. And we also got a new area as well, finally. I don't think we've had such a big gap in new areas. And with the first area of Nodokrai being decently small, honestly, compared to other previous, 0.0 major versions, it was kind of small. Also, it was done really quickly, especially with a new compass mechanic, but also it really didn't have any fucking puzzles or anything. So the versions up until now felt really empty, and now we got a new area, so of course we're gonna be reviewing that. Lantern Rite was our main event. I mean, it's expected, the Lunar New Year, and it's horse year, baby. So it's gonna be so horsey. And then of course we got our minor events, and of course Shillian Onslaught. So, shall we get into the details? Of course, we're gonna start with the Archon quest. 2 new acts, and, here are my, what is my general, review of these acts right now. Honestly, I don't know exactly when I'm gonna be able to give a, full version, as I usually do, because in previous areas, in previous nations, we would be done with the Archon quest right now. We would have some extra chapters and stuff, right about now, like paralogism and stuff. But right now, the way that they're doing the Archon quest is gonna be, I guess, for the entirety of the Nodokrai releases. And the rarer part is done, but the Dottore part is as important or even more important than the rarer stuff. So again, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna be able to do an overview of the Archon quest, and we can rank the Archon quest in its entirety with all of the acts. As for these ones, well, the contents of the quest, they were perfectly good. The pacing really kills itself at the middle, I have to say. The non-stop back and forward to the Traveler or some sort of character and Columbina really kills the pace and enjoyment of that part of the quest. The contents are good. It has a lot of lore stuff, but I don't think the right way to say it is I can't focus on each of the stories. It's more so that I am screaming at my screen to just stay on one side and advance its plot so that it's all in one nice package. Like the story of the part of whatever character you're following just is in a package. It's done, it becomes nice and more coherent instead of the back and forth that splits the stories up and doesn't allow for good focus. Also, outside of that, they so fucked the Rerir up. He got completely off-screened, and the ending to his arc is just so badly done. It really screams, here, just take it. He's not going to be anywhere near the story again or playable, so now go pull for Columbina kind of thingy. Okay, yeah, Columbina is gonna be the main focus right now, and the focus of the parts that you're following her, but the way that Rerir got treated is just ass. As well with Tholindis and everything. It's just ass to everything that we had to go through with his past and everything. It just feels like such a, it very clearly shows, Columbina went through the same gate as Rerir, so will she meet Rerir? And the writers are like, yes, she will meet Rerir here's the end, get rid of him, kind of thingy. Focus on Columbina, please. That's kind of that's how it felt. Except for those 2 issues, these acts were fine. It's very clearly not over yet with the whole, second ending and glitchy ending and whoever's gaslighting themselves on whatever is gonna happen. Though I am kind of afraid that they're gonna pull some really big bullshit to continue the Dottore side of the story. Not on the side of Dottore manipulated whatever reality and I don't know, and we didn't actually defeat him, but on the side of how we are actually going to defeat him. The power of friendship-esque that happened in this act was kind of okay-ish. Although many people have pointed out, and I also was like, this is like, this power of friendship is kind of BS. When Columbina tells Dottore, you stole the land from the people of Nodokrai, and everybody's like, Columbina, your favorite friend Sandrone is actually to blame for that. She literally basically colonized the entire place with a giant fucking factory and everything. So, yeah, my issue, which also some people have pointed out, is with the Traveler and how smoked he got by Dottore, pointing out very much how naive and innocent the Traveler thinks his friendships are. And I was like, thank you. Dottore really pulled out the plot up until now has been ass, Traveler. Have you noticed how in 6 years the devs have done nothing to advance your plot and character? How about I helped you with that? He pulled that out and I was like so fucking happy. I mean, the writers wrote this thing about themselves, but at least they're acknowledging it, kind of thingy. Although the fight with Dottore is complete ass. I don't like the regular boss fight a lot. I like how they gave the Traveler Ainos burst. Gee, maybe if Hydro Traveler had better Hydro application than fucking Barbara, you wouldn't need to do this, by the way. But yeah, at the very least, this fight compared to Rerir's is much more of a cinematic fight, because you're just basically waiting out a timer. You don't actually need to fully kill Dottore like Rerir with just the Hydro Traveler and a fucking Nefer. But as your characters are taken away, the fight kind of becomes boring. Just slap Dottore until the plot moves on. Yeah. All of that, yeah, if the middle of the quest didn't kill the pace, the last part would be more enjoyable, because you are like 3 hours deep into the quest by the time you finish Dottore and go to the moon, and you can feel exhausted because of that middle part. And also, there simply aren't any real clear breaks for these two acts. Like, Dottore speaks to you, you finish your dialogue, whatever it is with Dottore, and then it says, act done, and then act starts. And I'm like, what? Just randomly in the middle of everything, the act finishes and then the act starts, and it's like, what? And like, you feel like there's no way to stop the story. And also just, stopping the story would, I guess, ruin the pace even more. So yeah, like, by the time you go to the end, you are 3 hours deep. You can feel a bit of exhaustion with everything. And because of the pace in the middle part, it just doesn't like get out the excitement or any sort of super interest that I would have by the end. That's about it. I mean, it's not like the moon scene was super duper something. The spaceship told us fuck all. I mean, who moved it to the moon? Yes, but it tells you fuck all, and it's like, here's new skins. Good job. Yeah. Anyways, the acts were fine. Again, I told you why. I told you any notes I had it in. So I think we can move on to the exploration part. I am going to have to go on a pretty big rant here. I mean, when have I not gotten on a rant with the exploration since like Natlan? But I'm gonna go on a big rant with some strong language. Not that I care, it's just that the world seems to have gone so soft that the slightest mention of anything triggers people, so that's why I'm saying that. This new area was boring as everything that has been released in Natlan and Nodokrai. There wasn't anything interesting about the exploration, and I sure hope you have Nodokrai characters to explore, because everything in this new area was full of Wild Hunt enemies and everything else that is a pain in the ass to deal without lunar damage. The world quests were good, but very short. The Iluga one was interesting, but completely not voiced. And, well, it really kills the enjoyment when this is most likely one of the very few times we will see Iluga on screen and with some sort of actual focus. Everything else is gonna be some sort of fucking event or festival, and he's just gonna be there. The creepy lab one was very interesting because it wasn't just an explore the area quest, it had nice gimmicks of taking everything away from you. But be very honest with yourselves, they tried to be horror-y, but it feels so badly it becomes kind of comedic. I even think they tried to somewhat like jump scare you, but they should have really just played only with the atmosphere and crank it to 100, but they kind of did it. It kind of tries to go there, but it really doesn't. They really should have cranked up the atmosphere. The very interesting quest, moving on, about the angels, of course, was interesting, but also extremely short. It's just one area, and you just follow some Kuvaki shit, and that's about it. Again, it's lore interesting, but that's about it. Now, though, is where I really start the rant. Because recently, and at the start of the patch and even the Nodocry start, I saw people go crazy, saying, how did you finish all the content? Did you know life with herder, unemployed herder speedrunners? I simply really want to smash those people's heads with a hammer. I saw somebody say, how did you find 60 hours of content dry? And I'm like, how did your retarded fucking brain find 60 hours of content in this patch? Seriously, I did all of the exploration plus world quests in like 6 to 7 hours. Yes, 6 to 7 hours, with plenty of hourly breaks in there. I started like 3 in the afternoon, took a bath, at like 5 to 6, resumed at 7, I might even took a dinner break at 8, and around like 10 to 11, I was finished. I was in a voice call with friends, and literally, it's like 11 in the night, and I just say, well, I think I did everything. And they're like, what? But then after a few days where they played the patch, they also had fully finished the new area. Because of course they did. There isn't anything that actually takes time in the exploration. They fucked themselves by making such a small area, but needing to fit in too many chests and oculi that you non-stop pick them up as you explore, so you are 90+% done by the time you uncover the map. And also, holy shit, you can tell how much they really fucked up, because you will see an enemy camp a chest, and then when you defeat that enemy, another chest or more will show up, they will just spawn. They have fucked up so much with this quota of chests and oculi by releasing tiny areas, and then also just not releasing any areas at all. Right, at the major point of nothing requiring any fucking thinking, all chest puzzles are just interact buttons, so they take 2 seconds to complete. So even if there are 100+ chests, that is only 200 seconds. Either the chest is right there, or with some enemies that take 10 seconds to kill, or it's a brain-dead puzzle that would make a fetus feel like its intelligence is being insulted. And then the quests are simply very short, without just spam skipping the dialogue. That's the total time, it's just 6 to 8 hours. Are these people that seriously retarded that it takes them 5 fucking minutes to press a button to open a chest? I mean, why am I asking? I know that is part true, but seriously, man, I just don't want to believe that people are that legitimately stupid. And before I say any unemployed bullshit and whatever the fuck, hey fucker! I'm a university student. My work doesn't fucking stop when I leave my job site compared to your ass. And those friends I mentioned, yeah, they work that like, what, from 8 to 9 to 5, and they still completed everything less than a week after release. Thank fuck Enfield came out and it took our time, even though it needs like a multi-part video like the WoWo one I did ages ago, the game design part. Anyway, so where's your unemployed excuse, motherfucker? And the Archon quest, which should be around like, 3-4 hours, because if it took you longer, you heavily wasted your time, and we have like 9 to 10 hours. Wanna tell me where the 50 rest of them are? Man, the retardation of the human race needs to be examined, because post-2020, the average human is dumber and more retarded than a 10-year-old was at like 2009. Oh yeah. Anyway. The exploration might as well not have existed. It continues to be completely brain-dead, and it simply has no attachment to Genshin. Like actually, did you notice any fucking time that you had to use any element to complete a mechanic in this area while exploring? Anything. Use a bow, use a catalyst, anything. You might say, I don't remember, and that is because there wasn't anything that wanted it. As simple as that. And while the quest's content was good, they were still very short. That's it. And actually, last thing before we move on, the Nicole quest, before you unlock the reputation stuff for her, you have to destroy like blocks for the sculpture thingy. Genuine question, who the fuck says rows or columns, but they refer to the z-axis? I was so confused trying to do this thing, because it said either columns or rows, I don't remember, but it actually meant depth. Also, Paimon says if you fucked up that you should restart, but there's no way to restart. She's straight up lying. I think if you fuck up, it just redoes the last thing you fucked up. She is straight up lying. And I was looking for a reset button all the time. But yeah, like they say, like the number indicates how many blocks should be in a row or something. I'm like, no, you're lying. That's depth. That's depth. You're lying. Anyway, now then, time for events, because that's the exploration. It's shit, and it has been shit since Natlan, because very simply, it has no attachment to Genshin. In the fucking slightest. Literally. Quite fucking literally. I was playing Enfield, as I told you, Arknight's Enfield, and it felt like I was playing the newer Genshin areas because it was exactly the same. Just interact. Interact stuff. Nothing Genshin related. Totem, elemental totems, heck, even the fucking, like, what was it, the bubble thingies? I mean, at the very least, that needs a bow character. Like, something like that. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. We will never get the best fucking exploration, which was, believe it or not, everything until Sumeru. Everything until Sumeru. But, anyway. Events. We, of course, as said, had the big China New Year Lantern Rite. Of course, it's lunar focused with Zibai. Then there was then the minor events was a photo-taking event that was different than others, actually. Shillian Onslaught, and lastly, a comeback of an auto chess event. Now, of course, let's begin with the big one. This Lantern Rite was very obviously going to be fully focused on Zibai because she is the China lunar damage representation. And we have to sell her hard. It's simple as that, right? Because every other lunar character doesn't have any correlation to China, and now Zibai does. I mean, hey, last Lantern Rite was basically Hu Tao's second story quest, so I'm not mad that a character takes the spotlight, especially when I see from leaks that Zhongli becomes Yap Massacre, so with so many lines. I mean, you give me a character who has a lot to tell us, have so many lines, we are gonna be feasting. Well, for the story, by the end of it, of the Lantern Rite story, I was so unfathomably bored. I have to say that, story-wise, this Lantern Rite falls down quite a lot. Not the worst by far, because the contents of the story were okay, but my goodness. Like, the first part, perfectly good. Pacing, introductory content to the overall theme of the story and everything, all good. Then the second part just drags on for just a little bit more than it should, just a little bit. And the content of it isn't anything super duper interesting. But then the third part says, hold my horse, I can do it even better. And drags on even more than the second. While having equally uninteresting content, but it gets better because then you think that you will get like a 5-minute afterload after you finish all of those 3 quests, but nope. Now the true Zibai story quest begins, boy, and we have 30 minutes plus of the worst story content ever. It might not be the classic random NPC instead of character focus, but I would take that over this abhorrent, just stare at the screen while the carriage floats around for 30 minutes. Holy hell, I had just finished the third part of the Lantern Rite quests that felt like shit, and now you want me to dive right into the sewer system? Holy shit, it was abysmal. Oh, and of course, we're gonna make these quests permanent for Zibai, but last year that was literally Hu Tao's second story quest part? Nah, no need for that to be permanent. Only good story content, actually, was the hidden Nuvilet cutscene. And they know very well what they are doing, because who else would, of course, show up in the Nuvilet content other than Risley? And the cutscene is just them being fathers. So, yeah, the story slowly descended into utter garbage. So, how about the minigames then? Well, we technically had 4 minigames, but 3 of them were actually minigames, so the last one was more so an Explore Liu thing. We have seen that happen before. And speaking of it, you talked to a lady and she gave you the ability to place special Xian lanterns that other players were able to see and interact. You had to write some sort of message and make like a card or something, and then the lantern was placed. Many put them next to the minigame NPCs, thus making it a pain in the ass to interact with them, but you could at least delete them from your world, so we are good. But after you placed yours, these trees would appear all around Liu Harbor, you attacked them to break them, and they gave you coins to use to buy basically our regular event rewards from the lady that gave you the lanterns. Because it had Primo Gems and other stuff. It wasn't just, hey, here's some extra furnishings or whatever. It was actually just Primo Gems and everything. Like, they were just in some sort of other menu, you can say. Now, though, as for the regular minigames, we got combat minigame, of course, shitty 2D auto runner, and really bad Vampire Survivors clone. I will let the combat last, actually. The 2D runner was a neat idea, but the fact that they used regular characters with barely any sort of speed boost, and many of them, like Xiao, have abilities that simply aren't made for such content. Like, you would dash with Xiao, and you would take like 3 fucking years to float slowly to the ground, and then also just start dashing like an idiot. It just made the whole thing boring and uninteresting. Doesn't help how mindless the stages also were. Like at the end of every single stage, there was literally a 10 seconds plus segment where you just watch the spirit carp thing, you just float around. For every single stage. You would literally just don't touch the controls for 10 plus seconds, you finished it. Also, I cannot understand this. They used Mualani in one of the stages, actually the very first one. And I thought that, okay, they will use the Natlan cast, I guess, for this, makes sense. But no, every other stage used a Liyue character, so why the fuck is Mualani here? She isn't even in the banners, I can say. Yelan is literally right there if you want somebody to go fast. So why did they pick Mualani over her and make the minigame use only Liyue characters? It makes no fucking sense. Insane. And I also have to say this, if a Western company, a Western dev company in 1998 made a better auto-running levels in 3D rather than 2D that took place on the Great Wall of China compared to the actual Chinese devs on their biggest holiday, can you really say that this minigame was any good? I'm talking about Crash Bandicoot 3 and the Tiger levels. They were literally better than this, and in 3D on the Great Wall of China compared to what the actual Chinese devs did on their biggest holiday. I'll leave you with that. Next up is the Vampire Survivors clone, and it was atrocious. I've played a lot of Vampire Survivors, and do you know why people like Vampire Survivors? It's because, as it is advertised, and it is its genre, you are the bullet hell. This minigame tried to be a combo of like bullet heaven and bullet hell, and guess what? It doesn't work well. You control the 2D Z-Bai, going around and attacking enemies or like lighting up lanterns. And then if you defeated enough enemies or light up enough lanterns, a boss would appear, kill the boss, and the stage is over. But the way the round worked is that you had like 20 seconds to do all of that before you were booted out and had to spend the XP you got to level up some sort of buff. And it was a non-stop hell of just loading screens. Like, Vampire Survivors is right there. You can see that they do that without the need to shittily interrupt the gameplay. Just how bad are the devs at copying something legitimately? And also, you want to know why people like Vampire Survivors? It's because you are the bullet hell. There's a fuck ton of enemies that do not use projectiles to damage you. Any projectiles only slow you or deal very, very low damage, because the focus of such a game is to not contact enemies to take damage, not dodge projectiles. That's where the challenge is how you move. And the whole design of the game is like that. And also the weapons, because of the enemy numbers, are very AoE and they feel satisfying to use because of it. But here in MiHoYo City Clone, enemies non-stop spam projectiles that damage you, and also you don't have a number HP, you have like hits, like 4 hits maximum. Oh, and by the way, you start off with 1, so one small slip up in a round just boots you to the upgrade screen. And your only means of attack is a single target shitty attachable to enemy's laser that feels like ass to use, even if you can upgrade the amount of enemies it hits. Wow, it's almost as if the original had reasons why it was praised, and these devs didn't fucking understand that and said, let's just make a clone, baby, who cares if it's good? And the best part, oh, this is the best part, was that there were 3 normal stages of the shitty loop of 20 seconds, stage, upgrade, and back. But then the cherry on top is that a 4th stage was unlocked, where you had to defeat all 3 of the previous bosses, but instead of the challenge being that you had to do that in 1 round, basically, you know, like kill the enemies, light up the lanterns, and then the 3 bosses would show up one after the other, in MiHoYo's unfathomable wisdom, they decided to completely reset all of the upgrades from the previous stages and take away all the XP you had earned when you entered the stage, and now you had to waste 10 motherfucking minutes redoing the same shit just to get all the upgrades back. And all you did was kill the bosses one at a time. You would light up the lanterns, or kill the enemies, kill the boss, boot it back to the upgrades, then do that again to defeat the second boss, and do that again to defeat the third boss. In-fucking-sane. Never let the dev or devs that made this touch a game again. Their stupidity should be kept as far away from games as possible. It was literally 10 motherfucking minutes of redoing the same shit for no fucking reason. The worst fucking thing I've ever played on a main event. Genuinely. Holy shit, the stupidity of the person or people that thought of this is unimaginable. Wow, just wow. You fucked up copying Vampire Survivors and then you pull this shit off? Come the fuck on, man. And last is the combat minigame, and you can guess from my tone how it went. Because not only do we have the complete unsatisfaction that existed in the latest version main events, where where the goal is to reach like 1,000 score, but you can reach 1,000,000 score and get fuck all for it. We now also have complete utter lunar shilling. There were like 5 stages where 1 and 3 were normal, just enemies, because in order to get a high score, you didn't need to use any crazy stuff. Like stage 1 was just hitting enemies or killing them using attacks, like normal, charged, anything. But then stage 2, 4, and 5 were all like one of the Natlan events where bosses had like 10,000 HP bars. But the only way here to get a high score on those stages was to use every specific lunar reaction. Yay! Literally, if you didn't use lunar reactions on those stages, you wouldn't get all the rewards. You wouldn't be able to get any sort of actually good score because you had to use lunar reactions to get any sort of points. So, don't like any of those lunar reactions? Well, go fuck yourself. Force one or more of the trial characters up your ass and get guilt-tripped into pulling, asshole. And the one thing that I loved so much, absolutely, is that they specifically, very specifically, didn't unlock the final stage of the combat minigame alongside every other minigame because they wanted to wait one more day, just a few fucking hours for Zeebai's banner to come out in all regions. If that doesn't tell you the complete intentions of this combat minigame, then I cannot help you. Horrendous. So this Lantern Rite was complete, utter dog shit. The story slowly became worse and worse, and all the minigames sucked for one reason or more. Trash. Absolute trash. One of the worst Lantern Rites ever. The only fucking saving grace is that at the start of part 1 of the story, you get to see Yayao and Chichi. That's the first thing you see, and then Yaoyao's outfit is kind of okay. It's still fucking blue and black, god fucking damn it, but it's Yaoyao. She's cute. She has Emil's Japanese voice actor. I fucking love her. That's it. And of course, the 4-star selector. Wow. Congratulations. Horrendous. Just abysmal of a Lantern Rite. Like, wow. And well, that's the major event. That's the big bitch. Oh boy, good. And then, as for the minor events, well, the photo-taking one wanted you to take a photo of specific characters at specific moments of some sort of animation. They gave you a silhouette of the character, and you had to guess, if you don't use the character, just when the fuck does the character do the specific pose. And then adjust the angle and zoom of the camera to fit the silhouette. The grading, let's say, was completely busted. You could very easily have a very wrong angle and zoom, and get like 90+% of the goal. So, yeah. It was just a photo-taking event, and again, as I said, like this whole thing with the grading was being a bit busted was, yeah, and like if it was a character that you didn't know the animations or anything, because well, you don't care, you kind of had to just guess at which fucking point of any of their abilities this really specific frame of them was. So it was a bit iffy, like yeah. Then Shillian is Shillian, with Zeebai and Columbina. It was chock full of lunar shilling, and a bit of Nuvilette. Also, yeah, Nefa was also there for more lunar shilling. The first boss was the new Abyss, whatever the fuck it is. It's not exactly a chicken, but it summons the chicken, so I don't know exactly what to call this abyss thingy. Then there was the Fatui Soldier, and last was a heavily modified version of the Fontaine Crab that had some interesting strategies, but it was a severe Neuvillette shill. And last was a rerun of one of the auto chess events from like 1 to 2 years ago? Was it? If you know auto chess, you know how this worked. Actually, it was more like super auto pets. You could finish all the objectives in 2 rounds. It was very easy if you know what you are doing. Although, they definitely took the chance to make something super annoying, because the way this one worked is that you could pick a leader unit, and you would get some extra effects depending on the leader unit you got. But out of all of them, the Fatui commander woman was absurdly busted compared to any other leader. She would literally shoot for 10 plus seconds non-stop while your units are waiting for their attack, for their second attack. Like, come on. Also, like, one of the pages of the event rewards was just a fuck ton of XP. Just character XP. The purple books, thanks. But just a page chock full of the purple character XP. Very interesting. Very interesting. I guess thanks? Or even though I was farming the leylands like one month ago for those. And that is 6.3. That is it. It's technically not over yet for the Archon quest, but I am very, very skeptical on how the story will continue. I kind of predict some really bad BS if they are to, like really defeat the Dottore, Exploration was atrocious and short, just like every area since Natlan, basically, if it was like same size. It was helped by the content of the world quests, but, that doesn't change a ton. Lantern Rite was abysmal, and the minor events were harmless at best. Very good version, guys. Very good. Full of 60-hour content. Yeah. Holy shit, man. People really don't know what's going on in their heads, huh? Anyway, next week is Varka week. Boy, oh boy. What's gonna happen with this man? What's gonna happen with his release? And also, 6.4 outside of anything Varka seems to be very, very dry. Because we are getting what seems to be maybe interesting story stuff, because, well, Varka's coming back to Mondstadt. Everybody wants to see this. But outside of that, nothing seems to be interesting. Well, I think that I will see you in the Varka review, and I literally just got a notification that the Nier Automata 9th anniversary stream just went live, so I am absolutely going to go watch that. Goodbye.